I generated $85,000 in June just from making really good content and combining outreach. That's how I did it. Make people more interested, make people more involved. You can agree or disagree with it. At the end of the day, whenever you're using your story and the thing that you cannot read online, that's the way when you're like not AI, because AI cannot have all the content.
Today, I'm joined by Ben Buaron, founder of Windmill Growth. They help early stage startups turn their LinkedIn into their #1 growth channel. No hacks, no influencer playbooks, just real, sustainable visibility that brings in leads, builds credibility, and opens doors. Is the motion necessary for the audience to start developing trust towards us? Or are there some emotions which are more or better to build trust with audience?
I think like
early stage founders think that slow growth means that they need more funnels, more content, more ads. But what they tend to forget is that people don't buy from perfect branding, they buy from people they trust. So the argument is you don't need more marketing, you need more visibility. Our guest today has helped dozens of founders to stop hiding behind logos and start showing up where real trust is built on LinkedIn. Today, we are unpacking why visibility beats marketing and how to make LinkedIn work for yourself, even if you're just getting started. Hey, what's going on, everyone? I'm Mike Sirius, and this is Mastering Tech Growth. Every week, we chat with industry leaders to bring you no fluff tips on how to grow. If you enjoyed the show, please do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, and do send me your biggest growth questions at masteringtechgrowth.com. I'd love to know what you're working on and what's getting in your way. Today, I'm joined by Ben Buaron, founder of Windmill Growth. They help early stage startups turn their LinkedIn into their #1 growth channel. No hacks, no influencer playbooks, just real, sustainable visibility that brings in leads, builds credibility, and opens doors. He's been a founder himself, bootstrapped his business in public, and now teaches others how to build trust by showing up consistently online. Ben, excited to have you.
I was mute for some reason. Thank you very much for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
Oh, you got muted for a second. I was like, did I lose Ben over here?
Yeah,
That's all cool, man.
I'm mute from some reason, but now we're good. Now we're good.
Well, now we got. All right.
Yeah.
Well, Ben, we love to kick off the show with this question. When I say masteringtechgrowth.com, what comes to mind?
I think it's more about like no fluff thing. That's what I think about. I think that are very direct, very like let's do it the way that we should do it without going around stuff and not wasting time and things that aren't actually working. And that's how I see growth. That's how I see growth in my company. That's how I see growth in other companies. And I think there is like a specific way. There is specific ways that people are not talking about enough, or like gatekeeping or trying to keep it closed. But there is way to grow companies without spending tons of money, without spending tons of money of media buying, as you said. So that's what comes up.
Okay, I actually love you calling out the no fluff situation. I do myself believe that there's a lot of content online on how to actually do the growth, but a lot of really not tactical in a way, or it sort of leaves you alone to extract a tactical information from a content you're given. And
Yeah.
if you don't know how to really apply it, it just becomes sort of like, information, but it doesn't really yield, good results. So I love you calling that one out. So you guys been basically helping people to just go on LinkedIn and make LinkedIn their #1 channel for growth. And this is happening organically, right? That there's no ads buying.
No, our focus is mostly content, really good content with a lot of strategy behind it and a lot of engagement strategy behind it. Of Because by the end of the day, what we do is we help, as you said, we help founder build their go-to-market channel, their growth channel on LinkedIn to be their #1 channel. And we believe that founder-led marketing is the next big thing up to 2020, in the next 5 years. Okay, 2025 up to 2030 at least. We're talking about. We think that this is the biggest thing and the biggest like changing
Mhm.
factor in founders. So we help founders become the face of their startup, the face of their companies. And it helped them generate more, as you said, as you mentioned, generate more revenue, brand awareness, top of funnel, and help them basically have a better presence of themselves and their company online. That's what we feel.
Okay. So Is this a new phenomena? Like when I think about content creation in general, I mean there were always were people who were quite big online, and we call them influencers, right?
Yes,
Because they have a lot of eyes on them, so they can influence opinions. But now we're saying a founder led content. So effectively, we're saying if you have a startup and you're a founder of that startup, you want to position yourself to be a thought leader. Is that like a right saying, to sort of share a content what how your business solves a problem, and then being seen as a credible person to sort of solve that problem, and that will help your business grow? Is that
exactly.
like good assessment?
Exactly. The way we see it is just a numbers game, right? So if I'm not posting on LinkedIn, I'm not exposing myself, I'm not exposing my company, and I'm not letting other people know what I'm doing, right? What I'm focusing at, what I'm struggling with, what's the thing that I'm succeeding with, what I'm really good at, what my clients are doing really good. So if I'm
Hmm.
not posting all of it, I'm missing. Let's say I generated 1.5 million views on my organic content on LinkedIn in 2024. Okay, 1.5 million. I have clients who generated 30 million views on LinkedIn in 2024. So like we're talking about numbers of relevant people, hyper focused relevant people that is just exposed to your content, and they might change your the whole trajectory of your business, right? I got inbounds from LinkedIn that generated me 12K in MRR in a single month, just because I was putting myself out there. I was putting my content out there. I was putting case studies. I was putting everything that my company is going through and building in public. It's really helped me grow my business. So whenever we're talking about funnel-led marketing, think about it as a numbers game. As there's more likelihood of someone to reach out to you or refer you someone or being able to work with you if he knows you, if he trusts you, if he saw you anywhere online. And we're not reinventing any game here, right? The ads are
Hmm.
built on the same concept as top of funnel, building top of funnel, where we're talking about the organic traditional ads. Billboards, it's the same thing. You're putting your story out there, more of your company story out there, but you're putting the story out there. If we're talking about meta ads or Twitter, we're doing the same thing. We have the marketing rule of seven. You need to be attached in 7 points before someone decides to buy. So we're trying to increase the likelihood of someone buying from you by pushing the founder's face out there because it's the most unique way to do it in 2025.
Okay. And as well, I would say it's a most cost effective way as well, because you're not really burning any cash. It just becomes, well, okay, well, let me change that. You do burn some cash, especially if you're, hiring a company to do that for you. But compared to an ads, it's a lot more cost effective way, isn't it?
Yeah, so think about it. I'll give one time the numbers that let's say a couple of examples from my clients. Okay, for example, and then we can talk about in general how do we compare to ads. So two of my clients, for example, one let's go with one of my clients. He spent 9K for 2 months with us, and he generated 180. So in this 2 months period, based on inbounds, and again, I'm not trying to go with our success and like emphasize. I'm
Mhm.
trying to say you don't have to put a lot of money as much as you need to put it on ads, and you don't need to put any money, right? You can start by your own. You can start by your own.
Exactly.
You
Yep.
can try by yourself, completely
Yeah.
solely at home, trying, and especially in this AI area that like it's really easy to start understand exactly your tone of voice and talk with AI and like do brainstorming. Obviously, it's not good enough yet, and I don't think AI is good enough yet to create content completely and a full strategy for the founders. And there is a lot of companies that are trying to do it, and eventually we will get there. I kind of afraid of this day, not from my company perspective, more from like a personal perspective, like a social media perspective. I prefer to
Mhm.
talk with people and not to talk only with AI. So like I'm kind of still thinking about how the way it's going to be there, but by the end of the day, to start posting on LinkedIn, you don't need anything but 10 minutes. That's the only thing you need, right? You can use a
Mhm.
lot of AI profile optimizer tools that are online. You can use a lot of like things that are going really well in other platform. You can repurpose content. You can do whatever you want. You just need to spend some time and give and increase the priority of it in your day. Let's say, just put some time in it.
Okay. So you mentioned 9K spending, which you guys making 180. I mean that's a great return on investment as well. You mentioned you can start for free, which is absolutely true. I mean I don't pay anyone. I use a couple of tools to get me started, but effectively you can definitely go ahead and share content and your point of view.
Yeah.
And I want to ask this. I mean, the founder led content. It does feel to be, as you mentioned, what works right now, like 2025, maybe it was on a table back a year. Is this somehow related to the Gen Z generation and how they build trust and how they perceive information, or is that just something which just appeared with social media and AI or something like that? Like, what's driving that actually works?
That's a great question. I think there is a combination of everything you mentioned. I think there is a combination of everything you mentioned and more. Gen Z is definitely supporting it. We're seeing a lot of companies on Twitter, on LinkedIn that goes exponentially and like goes vertical. The moment the founder has distribution, right? We can I don't want to like name drop some companies, but by short scrolling of 10 minutes on LinkedIn or 10 minutes on Twitter, you can know exactly what company has distribution and what company can raise 20 million in a week because of their distribution. So like in this area of AI, this era of AI, that, let's be honest, nothing is defensible, right? People can
Okay.
build, like people I not like people can build things that took 5 years, can build in like 6 months now with a really good team that is really trained and know how to elevate and use AI. So things can be replicated really easily. The things that are not replicated very easily in my thesis is my branding, because that's my name, and my distribution,
Hmm.
right? And I'm saying mine, and everyone should speak by his own. But whenever you have the distribution, whenever you have the ability to reach to X amount of people, and as long as this X is bigger than the average person, your likelihood to succeed is better. From there, it's really depending on your product, on your service, on what you're doing. But if you have the
Hmm.
starting point of, think about it, you have an audience of like 25,000 people that you just send them a newsletter, right? From these
Yeah.
25,000 people, if you want to get 1,000 clients, it's possible if you'll do it over time. But you have the distribution channel. It will be easier for you to get to 1,000 instead of someone who just starts by his own. You understand? So it's a numbers game again, and it goes into the distribution channel that we are helping our founders build, and everyone should build by his own, to his own LinkedIn channel and his own company. That's our thesis again.
Okay. So here's a question on a more tactical way. What's the fastest way to figure out what actually resonates with your audience when you're just getting started? And that really comes from my own perspective as well. So I share as much as I can. I don't think I have a good consistency, but at the same time, I don't really know like exactly what to share. So I'm just sort of like, spraying and praying
Yeah,
type of situation.
yeah.
And I'm just trying to figure out what
Most
actually
common,
sticks, right?
that's the most common mistake. No, the most common mistake is not posting at all. But the second mistake is spraying and praying.
Okay. So I'm doing the most common second mistake that so
Exactly.
tell me, how can I then, is it niche down or is it more like filter down to what works? Is this, I'm just looking at impressions as signals or comments, or is it more something that, like it's not about LinkedIn, it's more about like um understanding really the space you want to attack or something like that?
Exactly. So the way you should treat it as a traditional marketing, right? You should treat it as
Hmm.
like a funnel. You should understand exactly your funnel. What's your top of funnel of your content? What's your middle funnel of the content? What's the bottom funnel of your content? You should
Right.
create this funnel as your LinkedIn content system, right? So for myself, the top of funnel can be like thought leadership and brand awareness posts, and like let people connect people to my story and like personal stories and things that will bring grow my audience,
Hmm.
make people know about it. We're doing a lot of events, for example. So sharing about this event is my top of funnel, right? Getting to people. I just want as much as people possible to know about Windmill, to know the name Windmill Growth. I just
Okay.
read a tweet from a well-known founder who is like a Gen Z founder, very controversial, and he said, "I prefer to have 1 billion people say this guy built it than have $1 billion, because of the power of 1 billion people says this person built this company." You understand what I'm saying? You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you should treat it as a funnel, and you should build a strategy behind it. I wouldn't say that spraying and praying is a good method. It's a really good method at the beginning. Okay, I would start
Hmm.
with spraying and praying. In the first 2 3 months, I would start with spraying and praying, and then from there I will take it and like summarize everything, understand the data behind it. I'm a software engineer, so that's our thing in the company. We're really like leaning into the data. Uh,
Hmm.
so understanding the data, see what's worked, what generated for me leads, what didn't, what generated most amount of followers, when did it grow up the most, what was the post that lead to the most effect to my business, and then from there I would build a funnel with content pillars. We have a full brand book that we're doing for each one of our clients to actually help him build his brand. right? And this brand, whenever
Mhm.
it's designed correctly, you can even use it to generate content with AI. But the most important thing is to understand what you're going to speak about, how you're going to speak about it in your funnel, top, middle, bottom, and then niche
Mhm.
down as much as possible. And then eventually you will get more and more traction from the right people. Because if you have 70K followers, and there's a lot of cases like this on LinkedIn, 70K followers from irrelevant people that are like barely engaging, barely active on LinkedIn, or just like randomly commenting weird comments, it doesn't worth anything, right?
Okay.
You have
So
like,
it,
sorry, go ahead.
yeah, so it does go as well about the quality of followers and people in your network you
Yeah,
have, and the alignment to the content you want to share. If you're going to share something as baking recipes, and you have
100%.
AI engineers in your network, I mean, you're going to get no engagement whatsoever, right?
Exactly. You should treat it also as like as a traditional marketing, as I said, and an influencer marketing as well. Like you're your
Mhm.
influencer marketer, right? As a founder, that's the way I see it. You're like the face of your company. So let's think about a woman in her 30s who is more about fashion and wellness and appearance, and that's her content, and she has 250,000 followers on TikTok, right?
Mhm.
Nvidia, the AI chip company, will reach out to her and say, let's make an influencer marketing deal. They'll probably get nothing. It won't be relevant because her audience is not interested in seeing this type of content. So you
Yep.
really need to understand how do you target your audience, and there is a lot of tools and a lot of way to do it properly, but like how do you target your audience and keep sub niching as much as possible.
Okay, so effectively we're saying that the LinkedIn itself is a funnel, right? So it's not
That's how
that.
yeah.
Okay, so it sits at the top of the funnel, but the whole funnel is getting realized by LinkedIn. So you're sharing a content, right? So that's your top of the funnel. So
Yeah.
you're just getting impressions, people are seeing. Whatever is your middle is something like going into DMs of people who commented with your posts. So you're sort of pulling them down, and then potentially you pop them out into like a website or a meeting call, and that's sort of like your bottom of the tunnel where you just consider it as a.
When I'm saying building the funnel, it's even like you're creating content pillar for each one of the sections. So like you're creating content
All
pillar
right.
for the
Okay.
top, for the middle, and for the bottom of the funnel. Okay, so like the top will be more brand awareness, personal stories. The
Mm.
middle one can be lead magnets and sort of like case studies, and the bottom one should be testimonials and things that you do, and like how I helped company X do Y. These things will make people like take the leap and eventually reach out to you or do it inbound through your website, if that makes sense.
Okay, that's excellent. I love that. So you have a a post type. Well,
Yeah,
let's go like this, which targets the different areas of your funnel. Is
exactly.
there any formula of how much of which type of post you're making?
We are focusing around 50% top of funnel, 25 middle to bottom. That's like you can do you can do 40 20 30 30, but
Yep.
I would focus on top of funnel.
Okay. So
Because
50,
if
50.
you're trying to do too much bottom of funnel, if you're trying to sell too much aggressively, it just doesn't work. People get tired out of it.
Yeah, yeah. I've seen this post. Someone had like a 5 to 1. Somewhere I've seen. I think it was Justin Welsh.
Okay.
He's quite big with LinkedIn. I
Yeah,
think his formula is something like 5 to 1, like 5 posts to one salesy or ASCII type of
yeah,
post.
something
I
like
mean,
that.
everybody I guess has their own flavor, right? So, other question, Ben, is so when I post, and I assume everybody has the same situation, especially if you're using AI. Um, you get into this flavor of post which doesn't really feel real, if that makes sense. It doesn't feel like um
Feels fluff.
yeah, like not, it's not a human written, and you can see this miles away, right? And I've seen people countering this now by actually writing stuff like by hand on paper
Yeah,
and
there's a
taking a
lot of
picture.
trends. There's a lot of trends right now. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So it's like what's your take is like when you guys help to produce content, it's like like how do you make sure that it feels real and sort of like authentic to the person you're trying to help promote.
So it's really leans into the story itself. That's my focus of it. It's not even the writing itself. It's the story, right? So like
Hmm.
if I will go to ChatGPT and tell him create for me a full personal branding marketing strategy or like a full content calendar for the next months, no
Yeah.
matter what will be written there, 90% will feel AI. Okay.
Yeah.
So what I'm emphasizing here is how important the strategy is, the strategy behind the post itself, the strategy behind the profile. Okay, so
Hmm.
I'll go to ChatGPT right now and I'll tell them like, listen, that's my company, that's what I'm trying to achieve, that's my focus.
Yep.
Give me a content calendar. Most of the content calendars that I will get there are fluff, are things that I can find on Google. I can find on like a simple search. I can find on like ChatGPT even, right? It will be like your company is related to marketing, so we will talk about the difference between and let's take an example. Okay, let's take an example, and I'll show you on live how can I make it more interesting and more relevant. So let's say we're talking about the difference between um, cold outreach without posting into cold outreach with posting. Okay, I want to
Okay.
emphasize how cold outreach results are getting better whenever you have really good content behind of it. Okay, on LinkedIn
Yep.
specifically. So I can start the post in saying, I can start the post in a very like regular, logical way of this is how you can increase your conversion rate on your cold outbound by doing these three simple steps. I can
Hmm.
do it, right? I can do it. It will fill a bit of AI. I can search in Google, on Google. I can search in ChatGPT. But if I'm writing something that is very like, especially the hook, I think the hook is the most important piece of it. But like, if I'm starting with something which is super personal from my experience, from the thing that people cannot read on Google, cannot read on ChatGPT, that's the game changing piece of it. If I will start with,
Right.
I generated $85,000 in June just from making really good content and combining outreach. That's how I did it. It will
Hmm.
make people more interested, make people more involved in it. You can agree or disagree with it, but at
Yep.
the end of the day, whenever you're using your story and the thing that you cannot read online, that's the way when you're like not AI anymore, because AI cannot have all the context. So what we do, we focus heavily on the strategy. We focus heavily on the story. We focus heavily on the person itself, and not on the output of the content. The output of the content can be rewritten by AI. Like there's a lot of time that I'm taking my content and just like sending it to ChatGPT after I wrote it, and I send like improve because English also is not my first language. So
Hmm.
I'm going to AI and to ChatGPT, and I'm like improve clarity and check grammar. I see that it fits my tone of voice, and I'm shipping it. But I
Yep.
wrote the first version of it. I gave my story. I gave my tone. I gave the thing behind the scenes that you cannot find on Google, on ChatGPT, on Claude, because it's only with me. It's only mine, right? So
Yep.
that's the biggest difference in my opinion.
Okay. I love that. So that effectively means you can't really bullshit your way around that. Like you actually need to talk from experience. So if we, and I feel like I've seen that a lot. I've seen where people effectively reusing other people's stories to drive as their own posts or their own stories, right?
Yeah.
So we effectively saying if it's not your story, it doesn't land that well. Like
It,
you
la-
actually.
it lands as long as you give from your own inputs and you give from your own experience and knowledge. Like I can elevate other person's story. I can elevate another great influencer or great founder or great trend that is going through the web, but I have to give and I have to emphasize my side of it. I have to emphasize my take of it. Because if people want to read, they want to read what you're saying, not in general. I'm not a news page. I'm
Mhm.
not a Google I'm not a Google or marketing 101 lesson. I'm
Yeah.
a founder and I'm sharing my company and I'm sharing my story.
So
So
they want your point of view on things, and they want your experience. Effectively, you're making the walk. So now
exactly.
you're making the talk, and that is effectively your story.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, I
You can
love
use
that.
other people trends. You can use other people ideas, other people opinion. You can talk about trends. Like I posted a post that went viral that I spoke about some Samsung versus Apple, like sort of not beef, but like something that happened a few months ago when a lot of big influencers on TikTok tried to like compare between Apple and Samsung, and they realized that Samsung is really good, although they were like Apple advocates. So
Yeah.
it was like a beef, TikTok beef between a couple of influencers, like in a nice way, in a respectful way, of course. So
Mhm.
I spoke about it and I saw and I gave my take on the marketing side of it. So it was
Yeah.
interesting for a lot of people. If I would just
Okay.
say, yeah, there is a beef on TikTok, it probably won't matter and won't be interesting for anyone. But I gave my expertise and my knowledge about it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So what were you saying then, Ben? That the point of view, which is yours, whatever that is basically critical to actually building a personal brand. You can't be uh, polite. Well, not polite. You can be political, basically, right? You
No,
can't be in the no man's land. Like you, like you have to have
you
a
have to
point of
have,
view.
yeah, otherwise you're not interesting.
Yeah,
It's a
just become
market.
like,
Yeah,
mm,
think about it. You have to have you have to be controversial. You have to have your own points. You have to have your own thoughts. That's the only way to do it. Like my favorite, my most, um, my most viral post was about that I hired and fired someone in 2 weeks. Right? That was like I hired someone and fired him in 2 weeks later. It was my first business hire, and I fired him because it was a miss company culture fit. Like
okay,
we just didn't. It wasn't working good, and that's fine. And I got attacked by millions of people on the comments. But that's fine. That's who am I. That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm believing in. So
hmm,
you gotta be controversial. You gotta share your story. You cannot afraid like sharing your story. You cannot afraid sharing your opinion. If you're doing it, you're just like going into no man's land, exactly as you say, and you will be stagnant. You will never grow.
yeah. Is this why political people and speeches are so boring? Because they're afraid of everything to say
That's
wrong
use that.
things, and it's just always like, like they say something, you listen and you go like, y- like if you try to dig into their speeches, nothing is getting said. It's just,
Yeah, it just
it's like
yeah, yeah. That's
air,
my opinion
smoke.
on marketing. Yeah, for sure. I think that's what makes the difference. That's what cut through the noise, because there's
Okay.
a lot of noise in the last few months. We're going through a lot of like LinkedIn algorithm is changing, okay, and it's changing
Yeah.
because of the fact the demand and supplies are changing drastically, okay.
Hmm.
So the demand of content is increasing, but the supply is increasing in a higher pace. So more people want to start posting on LinkedIn. More people want to be thought leader, and more people want to have this distribution channel. So that's why the algorithm is changing right now. It's demand and supply. It's a basic economy thing. So whenever we have more people posting, we have more noise, and then it's harder to cut through the noise. That's why I always tell people start posting yesterday. Don't wait for tomorrow, because
Hmm.
it will be easier for you. It's always easier to get the next follower, right? The next follower is always easier than the previous one because you already have your audience. So try to get as much followers, as much distribution, and as much people listening and engaging with your content, so you'll be able to just grow your company.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about this because I noticed that as well. I really believe that I got some type of like shadow band or something like that because my impressions just went from like thousands into hundreds. It basically like 10x down.
Yeah,
And I did some Google and I seen that everyone is sort of suffering from this. And the
that's no.
best explanation I found, Ben, is was that LinkedIn is changing the algorithm and they sort of promoting only the best content producers, and everything else is just basically being kept for ads because they need to make money. I don't know, what's your point of view on like the algo changing? You're saying that everybody wants to post the content, so supply is big, but LinkedIn doesn't care about everyone, they care about the best, so they're promoting the best, and as a result everybody else just getting less impressions.
I'm not agreeing with it. I think there is a lot of room to grow on LinkedIn. The algorithm is changing, and there will be times that the algorithm will favorite you against others, and it's like ups and downs. And it's part of the game, and it's totally normal. That's how social media works, in general. So like, I
Hmm.
think the most important piece is staying consistent, and
Okay.
keep showing up. So it's not only about data and the metrics. It's keep posting and listening to your audience and trying to understand. And like, I don't think they're saving it to the top performers, but definitely it's easier for top influencers and founders that are writing content to grow more and more. But there's a lot of room to grow there. I don't think it's only the top performers. So the algorithm is changing, but if you're cutting through the noise, you're cutting through the noise. Like, I guarantee you that if you write something super controversial, it will go viral, right? Because it's social media. Um, so it's just like the understanding how you fit in within, like how you're not staying in this no man's land.
Okay, I love that. And I can do. I mean, my best post, which is nowhere viral, but I sort of wrote this, which comes from pure experience of when ChatGPT came up. I wrote this post, which basically when ChatGPT is a waste of time, and that was just like opening sentence. And then I went into why I believe there's many cases where you don't need to use that, and you can just code up things yourself. Again, I'm like technical person, just like you,
Yeah.
and yeah, and people sort of went like, yeah, I've been like using it back and forth, I'm not getting what I need, it's annoying. And it just felt like
I think
resonated with many people, and it went to the uh, sizes of impressions which I never seen that before with my account, which was my first sort of like realization that what actually means getting locally viral post.
But think about it on a way of like why this post. Whenever a post went viral, we're always like doing research. We're always like taking to the back end and understanding why it went viral to learn
Mm,
for the future. So the reason it went viral, this your post, and just from like hearing about it, is because you hit a specific motion with the readers, right? And this time,
mhm.
whenever ChatGPT launched, everyone was like, "Wow, I'm going to lose my job. I'm going to lose my job. I'm afraid. Like I'm a software engineer. I probably won't have a job in the next few years. Like what am I going to do?" So whenever they're like scrolling through LinkedIn, want to catch up with AI, someone is saying it's a waste of time. Don't deal with it, and they're like, "Oh, okay, good. I feel good." So you triggered an emotion, and
Yep.
being controversial and triggering emotion. That's the basic level of it, and that's how you should treat it. I'm always encouraging my copywriters and encouraging myself to understand what emotion am I trying to trigger in this specific post. Like, what do I try? What my goals are? My goals is to get more followers. My goals to get more deals. My goals. What my goals? How do I elevate the reader emotion like doing it? Let's say it can be an emotion of jealous, it can be emotion of proud, it can be emotion of sadness, it can be a lot of emotions that we want to
Mhm.
trigger, but that's what will make the reader keep reading and engage with it by the end of the day.
Okay. Is the emotion necessary for the audience to start developing trust towards us, or are there some emotions which are more or better to build trust with audience?
I think like anger is the easiest to build. I'm not saying to build trust. I'm saying to build audience. Anger is
Okay.
the easiest. Whenever you're making people anger, it's the easiest for you to go viral. Because that's how people engage with content. Whenever they're angry, whenever they feel it's too controversial, it's too like out there, too much. You're hitting the spots, so they will like, comment, engage. I'm not saying you should only like this type of post, but hope is a really good emotion to trigger within people. That I highly recommend using in your content. Um, Proud, like being part of a journey, making people like understand that you'll also appreciate them.
Mm.
Yeah, let's say like jealousy is even a great emotion. Being jealous, like let's all these announcement posts of company X that raised like $25 million Series A, like everyone is applauding, but everyone was like, "Oh damn!" Like the emotion.
Yeah, I would want to be in that space.
I wish
As
I
in,
would. I wish I could have shared these posts.
yeah,
The
yeah,
jealous thing, it's but everything is emotion. Everything is it's a social media, right? If you scroll
yeah.
through TikTok and you're scrolling through TikTok, the best thing about TikTok that you can know if your emotion is triggered in like 0.2 seconds, like really fast by the beginning of the video, right? From text, from everything that's like going on there. So whenever
Okay.
I'm scrolling through TikTok, you can go ahead.
No. Continue, Ben.
I'm saying so. Whenever you're scrolling through TikTok, you're seeing something that said like, let's say I don't know, some influencer girl that says POV, you're dressing for your brother's wedding. Let's say, for example. Okay, so
Mm.
it connects me emotionally with this story because my sister will get married. I want to feel the emotions that she felt the same day. That like something that is relevant to this. So it's easier to do it on TikTok and like video thing that we can also talk about LinkedIn videos because it's definitely a game changer recently. But it's definitely something that triggers emotion and help you go more viral.
So if I want to build trust, though, Ben, so when I think about, people buy from people they trust. Like we know that, right? You first need to get seen as trustworthy for people to sort of start looking into your services or product, right? So if I'm triggering anger, I mean, would they trust me with solving their problems?
Not
Potentially, maybe
necessarily.
not.
Not necessarily. I'm saying building like using anger is more for audience building, not
Okay.
necessarily trust building.
And
Like
what
you
works
mentioned,
best for trust then?
hope,
Okay,
success, pride, like this type of emotion that you're trying
these ones.
to.
Okay,
And
I get it.
whenever other people are talking about you highly, this really works good. And like if you're able to get testimonial from other people that are like posting about you, that's amazing because they're like their trust. That's the emotion that you're letting them trust you through other people. If you want to like grow your business and services. So
That's excellent. Right. So,
the one thing I want to mention is that
yep.
I saw a lot of case studies and a lot of things that I saw live that people build audience with anger and then pretty easily converted it into trust.
Right.
So like you can build the audience, you can build the right audience, and then convert it into trust, and then convert it into like being this trustworthy person. You understand what I'm saying? So
Bait and switch.
yeah, again, I'm not doing it a lot. I'm not this type of person. There's a specific type of people that like love doing it. It's going well, and it's like that's their thing. Uh,
Mhm.
I'm not necessarily doing it because that's not my style in business. But again, all the tools are in front of you. You can use
Okay.
what you want. It's important to talk about everything.
Why does it take so long? Is it algorithms or is it just the nature of the beast to actually, build uh, up to the certain point where you can leverage that? And where I'm coming this from is myself. I wouldn't say that I'm consistent or anything like that, but it's a very slow burn. Like a podcasting industry, YouTube content creation, LinkedIn as well. It just takes time, right? And I think a lot of founders really underappreciate the journey they sort of entering to, and they maybe have this
Expectation.
expectations like, boom, I'm gonna commit for a 3 months, and after that millions are flying in or something like that. And it becomes like a year's journey and even more, right? So it's like, what's your point of view? Is like, why does it take like like time, right? Like,
I
why
can,
why
I
does it
can give
need?
you the best answer that is relevant to anything. If it was easy, everyone would do it.
I love that.
If it
If
was
it would
easy,
be easy,
everyone,
yeah,
everyone would do it. Right?
everyone would be influencer. And
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. But if you're willing to commit, like let's say you don't want to spend a lot of time and you want to use an agency like us, if you're willing to commit 50, 60K a year, and like push yourself out there and make yourself uncomfortable, you will succeed. I'm
Hmm.
guaranteeing you will succeed. But if you're like expecting that in 2 months you'll go mega viral and you'll get tons of audience and you're that what will solve your company P&L, that's not what you should do. That's definitely not what you should do. So again, and I appreciate a lot of people who does a lot of like podcasts and stuff because it's very very hard to stay consistent in it. It's very hard to like keep it going because you're not always seeing the dopamine hit that you want to get, right?
Hmm.
You're not always seeing it, but you got to keep pushing because most of the founders and most of the people that we know and most of the stories that we hear are not from are not coming from. It's not like a one night success. Okay, it's never
Hmm.
like it's like 0.01%. It's like a one night success of from one post that went viral, right? If you're talking about even Mr. Beast, he spent since he was like 7 shooting videos on his room and like that's he was obsessed about it since he was like since he was a child.
Hmm.
He was working and grinding and learning and improving and being obsessed about it, so he'll be able to get to the point that he's at today, but he worked his ass off to get to this point. So it's not
Yeah.
something that you're like, oh, I spent 3 months, I'm not seeing any ROI. Yeah, I guess this is not our channel. And it's related to, and it's like, it's also in a lot of things in life. If it would be easy, everyone would do it.
Yeah. Okay, I love that answer. I mean, puts my mind at ease a little bit, because sometimes I do lose patience. I'm going to be honest. I think you very rightfully put it in the sense of, you're not getting this gratification. That dopamine hit. You're not seeing these results at scale coming in, and it's like you just need to sort of grind
Yeah.
and just continue, right?
Think
And
about it as a
still keep.
business. Would you start a business with expectation to be rich in 3 months? Probably not.
I think everybody, well, not 3 months, but I think everybody starts a business with expectations to be wealthy to some extent, and I think
No,
they
no, no.
highly
But
underestimate their
would you
time.
would you give up after 3 months if you're not rich yet?
Nah.
Exactly. So this is like
Yeah.
it's like the same mentality that you need to go into.
Okay.
You know,
Is there timing averages which you can share, Ben? Is like what's, like let's say I'm starting from scratch, and let's say I'm not learning by doing. I'm just like hiring, people like yourself who will help me with everything. What's realistic expectations to hit the point where I'm getting a decent pipeline of leads?
it's really depending on the person, and it's really depending on the company, and also how much are you able to be like out there, and and
Okay.
and it's all comes down to the goals, like what your goals are. If your goals is to be viral and go viral, okay, we'll encourage you to be more controversial. We'll encourage you to take more things that like help others. We'll share lead magnets. We'll share a lot of stuff that makes things go viral. Right?
Hmm.
So then after 3 4 months, you can expect to like another 5,000 followers or something. We have clients that in 3 months got 12,000 followers, and that's incredible, right?
Hmm.
Because that's their goal. If your goals are more lead gen and pipeline and things like that, I would say like if you're using a company that know what they're doing, I would say like 4 5 6 months is a decent amount of time to like understand, know exactly where we're heading, and like start seeing some traction and build out the systems around it to be able to support your growth. As I said, I have clients who closed like 3 deals that generated $180,000 in inbound in the first 2 months. So that like, we have another 2 years of like actually generating revenue with a net positive ROI.
Hmm.
Or I have clients who like after 6 months got their first one, or not at all, and they will get it on the eighth or ninth. So it's
Yeah.
also
Okay.
on the company itself. You know, if you're
All
selling
right.
something that is like no brainer for 85% of founders, then yeah, it makes sense for you. You'll get more traction soon. But if it's something that is like more niche, you need to sub niche into this sub niche as much as possible, and then generate this pipeline that you're talking about.
Okay, I love that. So let's talk about consistency and a healthy consistency or a healthy rhythm for someone who's a busy founder. And I want to emphasize this healthy rhythm because ultimately we're saying there is a necessity of time commitment, and that for you to be winning in this space, you need to have that consistency for a fairly
Yeah,
uh, good amount of time. We just mentioned like 6 to 9 months, maybe a year, maybe two. So you probably want to keep take consistency, which you can stick with for a year or so, right?
yeah.
So that would be like a healthy rhythm. Does it does it really matter if like if it's not enough, like like, oh hey, I can do like one post every 2 weeks? Would you come in and say like, no, 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 that's not enough, like you have to do at least like two a week or something like that? Like in general, like what's the what's the science behind the consistency?
So you like LinkedIn also favorite posted already posted like a week and 2 weeks ago sometimes. So like it can be the LinkedIn post cycle is larger than TikTok, let's say. Okay, the life cycle
Hmm.
of a post, it's larger than the average social media. Um, so I would say like I would recommend a healthy cadence will be between 2 posts to 5 posts a week. That's like a
A
healthy
week.
cadence. Yeah, a week.
Yeah, week. Okay.
That's what I would recommend posting and focusing. Um, because you want to stay like your whole goal is to stay top of funnel. Your whole goal is to be in people's head, in people's mind. You want people to remember you. So I would say 2 to 5 posts a week. That's like a decent posting, and that's what we offer to our clients as well. There is a lot of people who still doing great with like posting once a month, twice a month, once in 2 months, but that's definitely not their biggest growth channel. They have different growth channels. So if
Okay.
you're saying I want LinkedIn to be my growth channel, you have to stay in between the 2 to 5 times a week.
Okay. And we effectively when we posting, right? So we talked about the types of posts, the top, the middle, and all these funnels. So we're pushing the content. So I want to talk a little bit what happens after people engage with the content. And when we say engagement, it's not just likes. Maybe it is likes. Do you go after people who actually engage with the post by likes? And when I say go after, I mean go into DM and either connect with them or send them a message.
I
Someone leaves a comment, you start conversations, like what's the that second level?
There's a lot of way of doing so.
Mhm.
That's not how the way I do stuff.
Okay.
I'm more of like I let people come. and then whenever they're coming, whenever they're asking questions, I'm capturing their mind. I think if you try to oversell, eventually people will get tired of it, and it's including like if someone just reacted to your content, did a like, and you immediately popped into their DMs, and you're like, "Hey, that's what we do. We're like um, personal branding agency. We help founder grow their personal." Like he will never do like again. Like he will never
Yeah.
do your content. He won't care about your content anymore, right?
What if you go in something like, genuine curiosity about, hey, I've seen you like my post, what did resonate with you here, something like that, like just to open conversation.
So it's fine, but I'm saying don't do it too often and too fast. Like let things
Okay.
go through. I found a lot of great partnerships and a lot of great friendships through LinkedIn because I just let it be, and I posted
Mm.
and I let it be, and eventually when it's coming to a place of like soft selling, it's just easier for me to close it. You understand what I'm saying? So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and there's a lot of people who will sell otherwise. There's a lot of people who say like the minute they engage with your content, they're interested. Go pitch them. That's fine. I respect that. That's just not. I just don't think it represents the founders that I work with. And if someone really want to do it, we're doing it. But that just don't represent like the person to person selling thing and like branding. I want to say because people buy
Okay.
people, and you don't want to like flood their DMs and like send millions of DMs and hope that something so.
Hmm. So okay, so we're sharing content which is valuable. People engage, and then effectively they will come to us, and
Yeah.
they will DM us, they will reach out to us, and
If
that
they
leads to
want to through
opportunity.
DM, they will maybe go
Yeah,
to your website and close a demo.
yeah. There you
So
go.
that
That's a warm lead, effectively. Yeah.
yeah, that 95% of my intros, not of my like website leads, are we have like a how did you hear about us LinkedIn, 95%.
Okay.
So
What about commenting on other people posts in your industry? Like we have been given some tips from other LinkedIn. Just for context, we have a handful of LinkedIn experts on the show because it is
yeah,
such an important growth channel. And one of the advice for the B2B relationships where actually go into comments, or either to your competitor or industry or other industry experts, and start leaving comments which add value to the post and does get seen by others, as in almost like fish eyeballs from your competition to yourself by providing a valuable comment. Is that something you guys explore or do?
so this is the part that we're doing the sales. Like this after content, this is the most important piece. Okay, and the way that we're doing it is we learn our ICP, the ICP of every one of our clients. We
Hmm.
learn it. We have like a forum. We go into it. We're using LinkedIn Sales Navigator or any other tool that help us understand exactly who the person is. We're adding them to the network. So another like growth hack that I'm sharing here from free with everyone. Whenever someone approves you, he see your content for the next 48 hours on top of their homepage. So like if you add someone, let's say I added you, you will see my content for the next 48 hours, like more often than you will see it in the future. So whenever you add someone, try to edit like whenever you have a good post coming up because they will see it most more likely they will see the content. And
Hmm.
then next step after you add them is that you go and engage with their content. You engage with your ICP's content and your competitors' content and everyone in your space content. So you want your face to be visible in the most like as many places as possible. So this is like the outbound of it is something that people, a lot of people, like you said, spraying and praying. It's also related to the outbound engagement and not outbound messaging. Outbound engagement specifically, of like
Hmm.
understanding your ICP and go and engage with them. Make the thoughtful intro. Make the thoughtful connection. Make the thoughtful like comment or everything you're doing because that's what will lead the soft selling you're trying to get out of LinkedIn and not necessarily the message of like, hey, I saw you engage with my content. Okay, so whenever
Yeah.
and think about it otherwise, like whenever I'm getting a really good comment from someone, I immediately want to see who the person is. Like it's interesting. It's interesting
Yeah.
to see who the person is, and then I'm learning about his company, whether I want it or not. But I'm going and checking it, right? So
Hmm.
this is another thing that we're like that we highly going into as part of our services. The ICP.
Okay. I actually love that. So So in theory, you could do this strategy based just on the fact that they will see your content at the top of the feed after the connection, where you can build a ICP bundle of people,
Yeah,
prepare content for those people, then go connect and then do the content at the same time. So
and
you sort of fill your yep.
it's a full strategy. Yeah.
Yep. Okay, that's actually excellent. I didn't know, by the way, that. That's thanks for sharing that, Ben. That after connection, you're going to see people's. They will see your content at the top of the feed.
Yeah, well,
Makes sense, though.
I
Yeah.
shared about it a lot of times on my LinkedIn.
Yeah. Okay. Right. So I want to ask about friends liking your posts or engagement pods. So I've seen that being done a couple of times. Where people have their friends or maybe their colleagues or whatever very close family type of level connections, and they post and these people always like here's my like, here's my like, here's my like, right? Which leads to sort of a very similar engagement pod situation where people sit in WhatsApp group, let's say, it's like 100 or whatever. They like, here's my post. Everybody goes in and just likes or leaves some random comments, something like that. It's like, what's your point of view on that one? Is that like, does that still work? Would you advise against it, and why? And just your point of view.
I think as long as it's done thoughtfully, it works. It helps. As long as it's done thoughtfully and relevancy. Like this is a service that we're also offering as an engagement service.
Mhm.
Definitely helpful. A lot of clients getting much traction and more like three time growth than what they got before. It just
Mhm.
helps you get into the algorithm faster. But if your content is not good enough, and that's what I'm telling every one of my clients, if your content is not good enough, it doesn't make sense. Like it won't work. Eventually, we'll just be tired and nobody will care.
So we're saying, of course, good content, post, and then when we post, the engagement pods gives us that
That kick, the good startup.
boost, like the kickstart, which effectively tells LinkedIn that, hey, there's something
Not even
going on
close.
here.
It just like because LinkedIn is built different than other social media platform. LinkedIn is built on a way of LinkedIn is a user saturated platform compared to Instagram, for example, is a content saturated platform, right? So
Mhm.
like, let's say I'm scrolling. I think I follow like 1,000 people on Instagram, and I never see all the stories in a day. Like I'm never able to get to all of my stories and like finish all of this stories of people that I follow with because there is a lot of content that is going there, right? So I miss a lot of stuff. On LinkedIn,
Yeah.
it's the opposite. They're trying to find you the right content for you. Because there is more users than there's more users, lurkers, people who just scroll than people who post. Then they're trying to find you the right content. So whenever I like and engage with your content, my followers list, some percentage of my followers list will see that I liked it. Like, and we can represent it by scrolling. You can do it by yourself. Like scrolling like a minute and a half on LinkedIn. I'll scroll right while we speak, and I'm scrolling. I'm seeing that like, for example, this person. I know that I'm not sharing my screen, but like this person commented on this post, and then oh, okay, so this post is being seen to me, although I'm not connected to this person.
Hmm.
And so it's like a chain of people that bring people, but the content has to be good enough to go into the third and fourth chain to actually go viral.
Yeah. It needs to be seen as valuable.
Yeah.
So these heavy posts, by the way, just very quickly on type of posts, not on a funnel targeting, but on like, hey, I just written this text post, and then hey, I've written this text post, but it's getting shipped with some type of image, and then the same post, less text, but it's carousels, the same information, but done as a video, as a short, and then maybe the same information expressed in the questions like a poll, something like that. So basically, all these different types of content of LinkedIn is. Are we saying there's a best for certain types, or we should just reshuffle the same content with various types and see what works with our networks? Like, how do you choose what sticks, if that makes sense?
Can you repeat your question, please? Sorry, I wasn't. I need to. Yeah, just repeat your question. Sorry.
Yeah, so you get the post, right? So you're posting about something, so you can just write this down as a text post. You can write the same down and then attach an image to that. You can convert the same into carousel, and you can do the same as shooting yourself as a video and posting as a short.
Yeah, I
And
would
then
try all of it. I would try
You
all.
would just do the same content with all of them and just see what works.
I wouldn't post about the same thing over and over again. I would just try with different types, different posts, and would try to see what works. But obviously, you should combine all of them in your strategy. You should have all of them. You should have carousels. You should have videos. You should have photos. You should have text only. You should have everything. And what works best for you, that's what you should double down on. I have clients when their graphic posts are getting mega viral, more than 200,000 views with photos, and videos are going nothing. And I have the exact opposite. So it's really also depending on your audience,
Mhm.
what they like to consume. But I would definitely include all of it in my strategy and then narrow it down to what works better.
Okay, excellent. I love that. Right, so let's go in the rapid questions, Ben. Just quick ones, 30, 60-second answers. Just hopefully to give our listeners more tactile things around LinkedIn. What's one common LinkedIn tip you think is overrated and why?
A tip that I think that is overrated.
Yeah.
Um, mm, That's a good question. I think like I'm really into optimizing profile.
Hmm.
I'm really into like optimize your profile and like making sure that it's like good, looks good and feels good. But it can be done really, really easily with just a really good banner and a profile picture. That's all you need, and not like optimizing all your about section and bio and everything. Like the most important part is your profile picture and your banner. That's it. Don't overcomplicate it. Don't spend your
What do you,
time on creating content.
what do you put in the banner? Is that like your
Something that makes me understand what you're doing in 2 seconds.
in two
I want to
seconds?
go. I want to go. Like yeah, we call it the 2 seconds test. I want to go to your profile and like my banner is like the simplest ever, and it's like let me even read it to you. And there's like if you're a premium, you have the option to do like a scrolling banner that is like two photos even.
Yeah,
But my banner is we turn your content into revenue.
that's awesome. I
That's
love that. I mean, my banner is shit. It's like an image or something. I need
you
to
can
go.
use our profile optimizer. Our profile optimizer basically tell you how to improve your banner, your photo, your everything, and it's free. But yeah, for example, if I'm going to your banner, what I'm seeing is master impact growth. So
Yeah,
I'm seeing a microphone, and I'm seeing like a controller, like an Xbox or some yeah
yeah,
controller.
yeah. That's what I mean. It's shit.
And then,
So
and then it's like your headline is I help founder grow tech startups, like which is great. Maybe I would add just like a founder and CEO at your company. But I think banners with one liners are usually doing better because like
yeah,
just straight out of that, that's what I do. And then make if people are interested, they will go and read more. So that's why I don't think like you shouldn't go too deeply into the about section. The buy like focus on the profile picture and the banner.
okay. Save the other time for to actually do some content. All right.
Yeah.
Do hashtags still matter,
No, no,
and are they just just clutter effectively?
no, don't do it. Don't even use it. Just
Do they actually cause do they cause harm? Like do you,
in this AI era, yeah, because people feels like it's AI.
right? So when people see hashtags, they go like "Psh,
Yeah,
noise or
yeah,
something like that.
yeah. That's it. And again, I'm not saying it, but I learned it from LinkedIn itself. Like the LinkedIn team told like us in a
Why do they have it as a feature then? It's like why do
every company has it as a feature. Every
yeah.
social media has it as a feature. It's like a standard, but they're not promoting it in any chance in any way. So
Okay.
I wouldn't lean into it.
All right. Is it better to post in the morning, afternoon, or the timing is just
It,
not something you should be worrying?
it should, and you should understand it based. You should test it and see what's working for you. Usually, I would recommend Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Eastern. If your audience is on the East Coast, if your audience is on the West Coast, then take it to the West Coast hours. If your audience is in Europe, then spend it like in the morning. But like LinkedIn is more like a business thing. It's more like a workflow. So mornings usually works better. Morning, noon. That's where I would focus.
Okay. So with basically saying understand your network and what time zone they are in,
Yeah,
and target their time zones morning.
yeah, and understand your ICP time
Yeah.
zone, not only your
Is
current network, your ICP,
okay.
your ideal customer
ICP's
profile.
time zone. Right.
Yeah. The thing
And we're
about
saying more.
if we
Yep.
say the overrated tip is profile optimization, the underrated tip is LinkedIn videos. Like that's go all in on it.
Why?
because they're trying to promote it, they're trying to boost it, they're trying to make it like it's easier to go viral with videos because of the new feature of the LinkedIn videos on mobile. They're doing like a scroll like TikTok videos, so do a lot of videos
So you want to do like a short
form.
setup type of videos like TikTok, YouTube Shorts, same for LinkedIn.
Exactly, they're doing it, it's working.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you need to ship it with the content as well, or is it just like video and couple of words? Like you approach basically the same as TikTok?
No, it should, the content should be really good as well because people will see it on one page and will engage with it and will want to read more about it. But again, videos are the way to succeed in 2025 as well.
Okay, I love that. I got a plenty of videos, man. So I need to go back, think about my strategy, right? So how do you spot the difference between someone building a real brand versus someone chasing attention?
Um, I think it's related to how much value they're providing. Um, if they're providing value to the readers, if they're providing value to their audience, and like actually trying to support and teach from their experience, then I would say it's a real brand. If it's just like clout and trolling and trying to get attention, then that's the opposite way.
Is there any point to chase attention on LinkedIn? Just purely on LinkedIn. I mean, we talked about anger and controversial takes to just get the followers up. But when it comes to LinkedIn, when it comes to B2B, building trust and then looking at closing deals, do you even want to chase attention?
Yeah, because there is no bad marketing.
Okay.
No bad marketing. Also on LinkedIn, marketing is always good. Like,
So if people talk about you, then we happy effectively.
if I,
Good or bad,
yeah,
if people say something.
you can always use it for the better. But
Okay. What's the most effective type of post structure, if there is one, in your point of view?
a really good hook, short hook that include the word I or we. That's a game changer in my
That's
opinion.
the first sentence, right?
Yeah, I or we, because that's related to what I said at the beginning, like connected with
Yeah.
your own story. Have like a good chunk of content that is like the main take of the content, and then if you want like a call to action that connects to the comments or something.
Yeah. So when we talk about the main chunk, is it like do you play this intent game, as in here's one problem which I know people are searching, so you sort of almost like do search engine optimization. You look at some keywords, you look at some problems, and you take that, and your content is actually how you solve that.
I would do
And
I would focus more on the storytelling of it. Just tell
is it
it,
more okay?
tell it
I
as
get that.
yeah, tell it as a story.
All
That's
right.
what will be
Uh,
targeted.
is it okay to repeat yourself on LinkedIn, or should every post be new?
People are repurposing content. I repurposed content twice. I did it like two posts, and because a lot of people think that everyone will remember everything they said, but that's definitely not true, and nobody cares about a post that you posted 8 months ago.
Yeah.
So a lot of people repurpose content. A lot of people reuse it, change a bit of the wording, and like I did it.
So effectively, we're saying it's fine. Just if you have a post which did well 3 months back, take it, repost it, literally the same, or are we saying
Yeah, it's your
take it?
call. It's your call. You can do it. You cannot do it. It's your call. But like I wouldn't create my strategy based on it. I wouldn't like focus on just repurposing. If it's like something that you're willing to do and like you're out of content ideas, after a couple of months you can start doing it slowly but surely. Don't like heavily depend. Don't heavily depend on it.
Okay. Um, what's your success metric when it comes to LinkedIn? Follower counts or comments you get, impressions, deals you close? Like, what do you look at? Data perspective, and you go like, this account is great.
Profile visits.
Profile what?
Profile visits.
Profile visits. So people coming into your profile.
Yeah, I'm getting way more inbounds when I'm getting more and more profile visits.
Okay, I
So
love that.
yeah, that makes that
Yeah.
says that your content is good, that people engage with your content, that is like just goes viral as much as possible, and you know.
And with the premium, you actually see people visit. With the premium, you see who actually visited your profile, right? So you
Not,
can.
not 100%, but like you're seeing some intents about it. You're not seeing everyone, but you're seeing some of them. Yeah.
Okay. What's one tiny mindset shift that makes showing up on LinkedIn feel easier?
Understanding that nobody gives a fuck about what you're doing. It's like you're not
Uh,
you're not important what you think.
I love I love that. That piece of really overthinking and over caring what you about to share. That
It's in
stopped me
general
so
about
many
content.
times, man.
It's general about content. It's just not only LinkedIn. It's TikTok, it's Instagram, it's everywhere. Like
Yeah.
nobody cares. Nobody cares. And people
Literally,
will
no
laugh.
one does.
People will laugh until you will succeed. So it's better
Yeah.
to start as soon as possible and then succeed, and then you don't care.
So we're saying basically, if you don't know, still start, still spray and pray is still better than doing nothing, as you have mentioned. But then once you start, you want to start,
Yeah,
become more professional about this, or more targeted or more strategic about this. But the idea is that if you have something to say, just go ahead and say it. No one really cares.
exactly. Exactly.
Okay, well, love that. All right, so where can people learn more about the services you guys provide? Any other details you want to share with the listeners? Because I'm sure they got value from the show, and they're thinking, okay, how do I get in touch with Ben now?
So you can go to my LinkedIn based on my name, Ben Buaron, as well. You can go to my LinkedIn. You can go find me on LinkedIn, Instagram, or at ben@windmillgrowth.com. Our website is windmillgrowth.com. You can see everywhere that is going there. We're actually launching a 7-day free trial to one of our services soon. So you can
Nice.
go there and maybe even try one of our services to see if you like it. But yeah, we have all the information there. We're explaining about the services. We have a lot. We have tons of free value on our website. So like we have a 7-day free course guide to just like opt in and learn about how to write content on LinkedIn, how to convert, how to do everything. We have an AI profile optimizer that you can go to our website, submit your profile, and after 2 minutes, 3 minutes, we're sending you a full profile audit on your profile and how to optimize it and how to do it better based on our experience. So everything, and just feel free to reach out and talk. And if you're here and you saw and you found value of it, I would love you to send me a message so I'll know. But yeah, that's it.
That's awesome. For the guys not listening live, which is majority of our listeners, scroll down to the show notes. All the links were there. And thanks, Ben, for sharing all of that for free. Especially, the profile optimizer and all all the other tools. I would encourage everybody to go ahead and try that. I'll do that myself. I really need that profile optimizer, Ben. So I'll do that myself. I'll give you a feedback after that. I'll tell you what worked, what didn't. To our listeners, if you found a value in the show right now and you know someone who tries to leverage LinkedIn for growth, do share this episode with them. Do share the links of Ben with him or her. Help them to grow on LinkedIn. And for everybody else, thank you for tuning in. Stay safe and see you online.